Yeah, good morning. Welcome to the DVMS class. So in this class, we will move up by using uh, the topics towards problem caused by redundancy, decomposition, functional dependencies, etc. So that goes with the first part of the unit, that is unit 4. So in this unit 4, the key takeaway was to give you glimpses regarding redundancy, decomposition, and quite a huge way towards normalization. So that will be the outline. So normalization, it looks with the normal forms, etc. So this lecture aims you to understand the schema, its decomposition caused by problems caused by redundancy, and then a move towards understanding functional dependencies and to analyze how the functional dependencies are going to take up. So when we will talk about the decomposition and normalization, the first and foremost word will be a word called as redundancy. So redundancy was to have a word called as a duplicate. That is, if the database is going to store same information more than once, then we call that one as a duplicate data. So as per the definition, it is a method of storing the same information more than once within a database. We will call it as redundancy. So redundancy, storage of information, it is going to cause many problems which are related to schemas and may have an event to failure of disk or retrieve the loss of information. So these are the basic key takeaways towards redundancies. That is, when duplicate data is going to be occurred, it may cause problems in relational schemas. So relational schema is nothing but the database design, and it is in a position to lead a failure to the disk or to have loss of information. So redundancy, of course, we say it is with redundant storage, that we call it as duplicate storage of information. Thereby, it affects on the anomalies. Anomalies are nothing but we call it as errors raised. So when are these errors raised? These errors are raised at an insert operation, delete operation, or at an update operation. When we insert something into a database, nor when we make a delete in a database, or when we are going to update towards a database, then anomalies are going to come into picture. Okay, anomalies raised. Then how are these anomalies taken up? These anomalies are going to be taken up, are going to be eliminated, or refined using a word called as decomposition. Using a word called as decomposition. So when we break the table, when we divide the table into smaller groups, then the technique we call here as a decomposition. So instead of maintaining lot of tuples, lot of attributes in a table, instead of maintaining lot of attributes in a table, if we can divide the table, if we can decompose the table applying some normal form, then it is a position what we are going to call as elimination of redundancy. We call it as a decomposition. So the solution was, there is a big table. Big table is having duplicate data. To eliminate duplicate data, what we can do? We can divide the table into two parts. That is, we have A, B, C, D. Now we are moving it into A, B and B, C, D. Now we are dividing it into A, B and B, C, D. Fine, it is taken up. Now, how can I see that A, B and B, C, D are decomposed in a systematic way? To get that systematic way, we are working with a word called as functional dependencies. So up to now, what are the takeaways? The takeaway was, one, we were talking about redundancy. Redundancy is nothing but duplicate of data. So duplicate of data can be eliminated. How we are going to eliminate? We eliminate it by decomposition. What is decomposition? Dividing table into smaller size. That is, distributing the attributes. Now, how can I distribute the attributes, or how can I divide the attributes? I can divide it with functional dependency. I can divide it with a word called as functional dependencies. Now, we talked about redundancy, then we talked about decomposition. Therefore, we need to work with functional dependency. So to fix up functional dependencies, we need to concentrate on anomalies. Anomalies, we call them as some errors. Where are these anomalies occurred? They occur at the update position. They occur at the insert position. They occur at the delete position. While making update, insert, delete. So either update, either insert, either delete, they fall under the data manipulation language. They fall up for the data manipulation language. So those errors, anomalies need to be fixed. Need to be fixed. So redundancy was caused due to anomaly, that is insert, update and delete. We made this, right? Insert, update and delete. Now, when we talk about the update anomaly, if one copy among such repeated data is updated, an inconsistency is created unless all copies are similarly updated. So it is quite complicated to understand the definition, but still we can put this in a simpler words. That is, when we make update on a similar data, and if that similar data is linked to some other data, then the same false copies are also going to be updated. To see that an update anomaly is not going to be happened, we need to fix it. That is with the decomposition and functional dependency. Next one. What is insert anomaly? So insert anomaly, it may not be possible to insert certain information unless until some waste information is going to be stored in it. So if you want to insert something in a table, the information which is not relevant to the main table or a master table is also going to be inserted. But such data is not required for a relation, but still that unwanted data is going to be inserted. So when an insert operation is going to happen, not only the data what we require, not only the data what we require, but additional data is also inserted. We call that clause here as an insert anomaly. Next comes delete anomaly. It may not be possible to delete certain information unless until some other useful information is deleted. So this is again tricky here. Unless until some useful information is deleted. So assume we have made an insert operation A, then there was a relationship between B. Now if I want to delete A, then B is also deleted. But B is important. That means when I am going to delete A, the items which are going to be linked to A, those items are also going to be deleted. So that leads to a word called as a delete anomaly. So if we update something, it is not updating to that record, it is updating to other records also. If we insert something, not only the required attributes, but some more additional attributes are also going to be added. If we delete something, the delete information is linked up to some useful information, so that useful information is also going to be get deleted. So these are some of the cases which need to be solved before we are going to go for decomposition. So if I want to go for decomposition, then I should see that there should not be any insert anomaly, there should not be any delete anomaly, there should not be any update anomaly. So until unless if these three are going to be deleted, then only we can go for decomposition. Seeing that the three things are going to be not happened, we call there the functional dependency. So that functional dependency we can learn in a few minutes. Now, this is totally a theoretical part: update anomaly, insert anomaly, delete anomaly. Now let us put this theoretical part in an application oriented way. That is, we will put the attributes, we will see that how insert, update and delete, they are going to be worked as a part of a table. So now here you can see that consider an hourly employees relation is there. An hourly employees relation is there. So in hourly employees, we have employee number, name, salary, rating, hourly wages, and hourly work. So we have field 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 fields are there. So the name of a table, we call it as hourly employees. Then we have employee number, name, salary, rating, wages, and hourly work. So rating is that as we buy some products in Flipkart and Amazon, then we give a rating how good it is working, etc. So the rating was given to the employees. Similarly, there is a field called as an hourly wages. So the wages per an hour. So it is 10, it is 10, it is 7, it is 7, it is 10. In this way, we are going to give up the wages, the salary. If they are going to compute the salary on hourly, they have. Next one was hourly work. So total number of works hours they have worked to earn this salary. So that means if they have salary of 3,500, they have worked for 40, and for each hour they got some 10 wages, hourly wages. So now let us see the year. Suppose that hourly wages relation attribute value is calculated by rating. That means there is a dependency here. There is a dependency. There is a relationship. There is a relationship between rating and wages. There is a relationship between rating and wages, and for a given rating value there should be only one corresponding wage. For a given rating value there should be only one corresponding wage. That means if I give 8, corresponding value should be 10. If I give 5, then the corresponding hourly wage will be 7. So it cannot be 6 or 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. It cannot be 8 or 9. The value here is fixed. The value here is fixed. That is rating and hourly wages. Rating and hourly wages, these two are going to be related. Rating and hourly wages are going to be related. So that was the key takeaway, what we need to understand at this point. Fine. Now if this is a scenario here, now how to interpret the scene at this case. Now talking about redundancy. So redundancy, we call it as a duplicate. Now what is redundant here? We were mentioning rating and wages are interrelated. Rating and wages are interrelated. Now 8, 5, we have like this, right? 8 and the other one was 5. One was 8, another was 5. So now 8 and 5 are related to rating. Then the values 8 is assigned to 10. 8 is assigned to 10. Then the values 8 is assigned to 10 and 7 is assigned to 5. Now 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. 3 times. 5, 7, 5, 7. 2 times. So we have duplicate values. We have duplicate values as 8, 10 and 5, 7 are repeated more than once. So we say here at this time redundancy. At this point of time, we call here as redundancy storage. The rating value corresponds to 8 is repeated for 3 times. Here, first time, second time, third time. First time, second time. So this is what we were talking about. The 8, it is repeated for 3 times. 5 rating, it is repeated for 2 times. More than once it is going to happen. So redundant storage is that the rating of 8 corresponding to 10 is repeated 3 times. So we have figured out the problem. To figure out this problem, now again we need to understand how an insert, how a delete, or how a update are available in the table called as hourly employees. Now let us talk about update anomaly. So in update anomaly, if hourly wages is the first tuple is updated, then it does not make changes in the corresponding second and last tuples. I am repeating this again. If the hourly wages in the first tuple is updated, it does not make changes in the corresponding second and third. Now, if I am going to update this 8 with 9, if I am going to make this 8 with 9, it will not update tuple number 901 and 902. So I'm just making an update operation on 903 tuple, but it is not updating it on 901 and 902. But what was the condition? The condition was rating and hourly wages are interlinked. But if I'm going to update one tuple, then it is not updating the other tuples, which it is going to lead up to a word called as update anomaly. If 8, 10 in one tuple is updated, it is not updated in the other 2 tuples. It is not updated in the other 2 tuples. So it leads to a word called here as an update anomaly. But as per rule, what it was telling? As per rule, it was telling the rating value should be only 1 corresponding to the hourly wages. But what we are going to do, we are going to update it. We are going to update one record. And if we update one record, it is not updating it in the second and third record, which it is going to lead to an error called as update anomaly. If the hourly wages, if the first tuple is updated, it does not make a changes in the corresponding second and third tuples, which we are going to call that concept as update anomaly. The next one was insert anomaly. The next scenario was to use insert anomaly. So when we are going to call here as an insert anomaly, if we have to insert a new tuple for an employee, if we have to insert a new tuple for an employee, we should know both the values ratings as well as hourly wages. If we have to insert a new tuple, we should know both the values rating as well as hourly wages. So now what is criticality here. The criticality was, assume if I am going to create a record called as 906, then I am going to put the value called as Ramu, then I am going to put a salary as 2000. Now, what I should understand? If I put 8, it should be 10. If I put 5, it should be 7. If I put 9, it should be 9. So, updated information must be available. Updated information must be available at this case. So, which is not known to us. So, let us go back to the definition. Sometimes it may not be possible to insert certain information unless until some waste information is going to be stored in it. So, as I am not sure what data I can insert, then I have a lot of probability to move up with the ratings. Either it can be 5, it can be 7, it can be 9. So, again, moving to the insert anomaly. If we have to insert a new tuple, we should know both the value of rating as well as hourly wages. That means we should understand that there are 3 cases. What are the 3 cases? Case 1, I must know it is 8 and 10, or it can be 5 and 7, or it can be 9 and 9. So in this way, whatever scenario we are going to use, that scenario need to be understood. Next comes the delete anomaly. Next comes the word called as delete anomaly. If we delete all the tuples with a given rating value, that is, if we delete the tuples for Ganesh and money, we may lose the relationship between rating and hourly wages. So go back to the example. Now I have a value of 8 and 10 to one record. Similarly, if I am going to have 5 and 10 to one record, and similarly if I am going to have 5 and 7 to another record. Assume if I delete 904, 3 and 2, then entire table relation is lost here, because we don't know the values which are associated. Why? Because 5 and 7 is one relation, 8 and 10 is another relation, which it is going to look at. So, a delete anomaly is that if we delete the tuples for Ganesh and money, we may lose the relationship between rating values and hourly rating. So, what are rating values? I have 5, I have 10. Similarly, we have 8 and we have 7. So the relationship is going to be lost between hourly wages and rating. So with these 3, now redundancy is struck. Now to eliminate update anomaly, to eliminate insert anomaly, to eliminate delete anomaly, now we need to refine the schema. And that schema should be of only one solution. We need to refine the schema, and that schema should be of only one solution. That is, it needs to be divided into smaller tables. it needs to be divided into smaller relations, where such smaller relations, they are going to be called at per here as decomposition. So a decomposition concept is a concept where large data tables, as per the attributes relation, they are going to be decomposed into multiple parts. So why decomposition is going to come into picture? The simple reason was we have redundancy in data. Why redundancy is there? Because of three anomalies. What are those three anomalies? One, it is insert, two, it is update, and other was delete. So we need to fix out insert, update, and delete. How we are going to fix out? We can fix it out by dividing the table into smaller parts. What is the definition? If we divide the huge table into smaller parts, the definition is nothing but we call here as decomposition. So the process of breaking down the relation or the table or the database into smaller relations is known as decomposition. So when there was a redundancy of data, to eliminate the duplicate data, now we are going to address the solution using the concept of decomposition. So decomposition is a relational schema which can be replacing the schema with one or more relational schemes, and that each contains a subset of the attributes of relation R, and it is going to be included in the R as a subset of attributes of R, and together it is going to be included in the R. That means I can have a relation with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can have a subset, that is 1, 2 is a subset here. Then I can have 3, 4 as a subset. So in this way, I can have 1, 2, 3 and I can have 3, 4. So in this way, I can divide the larger table into smaller groups. So we form this word as a decomposition. Okay. Now, what was the main table? Main table name was employee hours. That is employee number, name, salary, rating, hourly wages, and hourly worked. So these are the 5 attributes which are going to represent the employee, hourly employees. Now we divide the table. We divide the table into 2 smaller tables. We divide the table into 2 smaller tables. So what was the smaller table here? It is hourly employees, and second one was with wages. One we are going to call it as hourly employees, another we are going to call it as wages. Now how I am going to relate table 1 with relate table 2? Now I am going to distribute table 1 and table 2, right? But now how I am going to relate? I am going to relate rating. So using rating as a reference key, now we distribute the table into 2 parts. Using rating as a reference key, now we are going to divide this into 2 parts. So that is where we update the things into wages and hourly employees. So here we can see that as a result, updating any one of the wages tuple associated with the rating in wages invokes updates several tuples in hourly employees D, and which is better, and it is eliminating the inconsistency. So to understand this syntax, now the main table, it is going to have 6 fields. Now these 6 fields, they are divided into 2 tables. These 6 fields, they are divided into 2 tables. The first table, table 1, which we are going to call it as hourly employees D. Next one we are going to call here as the second table, that is wages table. The name of the second table, we will be calling it as wages. The name of the second table, we are going to call it as wages table. So wages table, it is only giving a relationship between rating and hourly wages. But employees D, now it is going to have a rating here, and that rating is going to link up table 1 and table 2, and this it is going to act as a reference key, and it links, and it is going to link, or it is going to associate between multiple tables, or it is going to associate between multiple tables here. So the main table, now it is going to be distributed for convenience. So what was the convenience? We eliminate duplicates. That is, we can say there is no redundancy. We can say there is no redundancy. Now, how is insert, how is update, and how is delete solved? Now the question was, how are you solving insert? How are you solving update? How are you solving delete? Okay, now I can insert rating as 9, then I can give hourly wages as 10. Then I can link it to a new record called as 906. So instead of updating the things, in the main table, now I am going to update the things in the sub table. Instead of working on the main table, now we are going to update it into the sub table, and thereby we can include a new record here, 906. Got it? So second one, if we are going to delete a record at this case, only the record in the second table is going to be lost, and it is not affecting the main table. So insert is solved, delete is solved. Similarly, I am going to update 9 and 9 here. So it is updated in the second table, and it is not reciprocated until it is called to the first table. Then I can say that update is also going to be solved. So we talked about 3 words, that is, towards redundancy, we have to work out with update, insert, and delete anomalies, etc. Then comes the word called as functional dependencies. So up to now, we have talked only about anomalies, insertion, updation, deletion. 3 anomalies we have talked, and their objective was to bring non-duplicate of data. No duplicate data is permitted. That is, redundancy is not going to be encouraged. So we put rating and hourly wages into a separate table. Okay, fine. Everything is done. Now, what was the theory behind decomposition? So you have taken a decision. Rating can be a reference key, and it can be broken, it can be divided. How did you take that decision? Why did you take the decision? It is because of applying functional dependency. So when we are going to use a word called as a functional dependency, we will understand the table, we will understand the data in a table, and we will look at what position we can break up the table. We will look at what position we can divide the table. So that is where the functional dependency is going to exist. So as far as the theoretical definition is going to be concerned, the functional dependency is a relation that it is going to exist between 2 attributes. A functional dependency is a relationship that it is going to exist between 2 attributes. So what will be the 2 attributes? It can be a primary key, or it can be a non-key attribute. It can be a primary key or it can be a non-key attribute. So a functional dependency is a table or in a relationship exists between two attributes. That is, it especially or it typically exists between primary key and non-key attributes. Okay. Now come back to the table again. Now coming back to the table again. So we were mentioning it typically exists between primary key and the non-key attribute. Okay. So primary key, non-key attribute. So when we talk about this table called as hourly employees D. Now employee number, assume it is going to be the primary key. Employee number, it is going to be the primary key. Then the other fields, they are going to be called as non-key attributes. They are called as non-key attributes. These items, they are called as non-key attributes. Employee name, salary, rating, wages. These items, they are called as non-key attributes. Okay, that is also taken. Now, what are we talking about? We were talking that a functional dependency, it is going to exist between key and non-key items. The left side of the functional dependency is going to be called as determinant and the right side is known as dependent. X to Y, X is towards our left hand side. So we assume this one as determinant. Y we are going to call it as dependent. That is, non-key attributes, non-key attributes are dependent on key attribute. That means I can have employee name which is dependent on employee number, salary dependent on employee number, rating dependent on employee number, hourly worked dependent on employee number. So the left side of a functional dependent is going to be called as determinant and right side is a production which is known as a dependent. Okay, fine. Next one. Let us see the example here. Assume that we have an employee table and it is going to have an attributes called as employee ID, employee name and employee address. We have a table called as employee ID, employee name and employee address. Here employee ID can be uniquely identified. As it is uniquely identified, we are going to call that item as a primary key item. We call here as a primary key item. And this uniquely identified, it can uniquely identify the employee name attribute of the employee table because we know employee ID can be tell the employee name associated with it. Okay. So as far as primary key is going to be concerned, then what we say, if we call it as a unique and not null, that is, we can say no duplicate here. And I can say number and name, they are related. But here you can see, can an organization can have two names Ganesh Yes, but can an organization can have 902 and 902? No. The reason was we are using the primary key here. But the number and name are associated. If I call 903, Ganesh 1 works. If I call 902, Ganesh 2 calls. So there is a relationship which it is going to point out the functional dependency that is between employee ID and employee name. So we call employee name is functionally dependent on employee ID. We are going to call here as employee name is functionally dependent on employee name, employee ID or employee number here. So that is how we are going to talk about the relationship called as functional dependent. So in functional dependent, non-key items, they are going to be dependent on the primary key. The non-key items, what are there participating in the relation, those non-key items, they are going to be functionally dependent on the employee ID here. So when we talk about this scenario here, what is employee number? It is called as primary key. Employee name, salary, rating, hourly worked. These items we call them as non-key attributes. We call them as non-key attributes. These non-key attributes, they are functionally dependent on key attribute. These are functionally dependent on key attribute. So that's how we are going to bring up. That is, employee name can be functionally dependent on employee number. Employee salary functionally dependent on employee number. Hourly worked, it is functionally dependent on employee number. So we make a relation in such a way that all the non-key attributes one by one, they are related to the primary key. They are going to be related to the primary key. And how we are going to mention the relation? We mention the relation as x to y. The position x, we are going to call it as determinant. The position y, we are going to call it as dependent. One, we are going to call it as determinant. Another, we are going to call it as determinant. So the determinant values, they are functionally dependent on dependent values. The determinant values, they are functionally dependent on determinant values, where we are going to call that concept as functionally dependent. Now, we talked about functional dependency. In functional dependency, we do have different types. We do have different types. One, we are going to call it as fully functional. Two, we are going to call it as trivial. Three, we are going to call it as multi. One, we are going to call it as trivial dependency. Two, we are going to call it as fully functional dependency. Three is called as multi-valued dependency. So the different types of functional dependencies, one, we are going to call it as fully functional dependency. Two, we are going to call it as trivial dependency. Three, we are going to call it as multi-valued dependency. Okay. If we have self relation, then it is trivial. I have a graph with 3 nodes A, B and C. A is related to A, right? That means A is subset of A. A is subset of A to itself. So we call this concept as a trivial dependency. So TRIVAL, trivial dependency. There is a graph A, B, C. Then the set, we can have A to B to C. Then we can have A to A, B to B, A to A, A to B, and A to C, right? Now, B to A, B to B, and B to C. Now, what is this? A to A and B to B. That means A to A and B to B, they are subsets of A comma B comma C. They are related to themselves. They are related to themselves. That is, we call it as self-relation. We call it as self-relation. And they are associated with other attributes. They are associated with other attributes. So A to A, we call it as self-relation. A to B and A to C. Now what is A to A and what is A to C? It is other relation. So A to A to B, A to C. A, B, C, they belongs to set. A to A, it is subset 1, subset 2, subset 3. That means A to A is a subset of itself, A to B and A to C. So such relations we call here as a trivial dependency. So in trivial dependency, the takeaway was we have a main set. In that main set, we have self relations. Along with self relation, it can have a relationship between other attributes. So that was one of a form of functional dependency. It was one of a form of functional dependency. Now here you can see, consider a table with 2 columns, employee ID and employee name. Consider a table with 2 columns, employee ID and employee name. Now, employee ID and employee name, they are dependent on employee ID. Of course, we call employee ID as the primary key attribute, and employee name and employee ID, we call it as non-key attributes. So we get a functional dependency. So employee ID and employee name, they are going to be a part of a set. Then we call it as non-key attributes. We call non-key attributes as determinant. We call these non-key attributes as the determinants and key attribute. So primary key, we call it as a key attribute. So this key attribute we are going to call as a dependent attribute. The key attribute we are going to call it as a dependent attribute. So employee ID is a subset. Yeah, we talked about relation, right? So I am going to have A, B and C. A is related to itself. That means A to A, A to B, A to C. So A to A is going to be the subset. A to A is also going to be a subset. A self relation is also going to be a subset. And if the dependency is going to have a subset, if the dependency is going to have a subset, then we call those dependencies as trivial dependencies. We call those dependencies as trivial dependencies. Next comes the other type of functional dependency. So this is what we are calling here as multi-valued dependency. We call here as a multi-valued dependency. So in multi-valued dependency, it is going to occur in a situation where there are multiple independent multi-valued attributes in a single table. It is quite difficult to understand, but this term is the heart of putting the multi-valued dependency definition. Multiple independent multi-valued attributes. So these are the 4 clauses what we have to put at this scenario. So in a single table, if we have multiple independent multi-valued attributes, then we can look in a situation where it is going to cause multi-valued dependency. Further, we will explain it. So the multi-valued dependency is a complete constraint between two set of attributes in a relation. It is going to be a complete constraint. Constraint is nothing but a condition here. It is a complete constraint between two sets of an attribute in a relation. So it not only requires certain tuples to be present, it requires certain tables to be present in a relation. Okay. Now let us take this example to understand what is multiple independent multi-valued attributes. Assume there was a database car as car. Assume there was a database called as car, and then there are some dependencies. Dependency 1, we call it as car model. Dependency 2, we call it as car model and color. But there is no relationship between manufacturing year and color. Both are independent. So manufacturing year and color are independent, and there are no relationship between manufacturing year and color, but still both of them are useful to get the car model. Both of them, they are useful to get car model. So now multiple independent. What is multiple independent? Manufacturing year, color. These two items we call it as multiple independent. Next, multi-valued attributes. So I need to get a car model. To get this car model, I need both the values, value 1 manufacturing year, value 2 color. Until I get manufacturing year and color, I can't decide the car model. So multiple independent multi-valued attributes, and all of them, either the car model, either the manufacturing year, either the color, all these items, they are related to a single table called as a car. So that's where we are going to put up a demo for multi-valued dependency. It is a demo for multi-valued dependency. Let us reconsider the same example again. So we were talking about multi-valid functional dependency. We were talking about multi-valid functional dependency. So there is a single table. The single table, we call it as car. Now there are some attributes. What was the attribute? We call it as car model. So this car model, it is dependent. It is going to be dependent on two independent attributes. What is the two independent values? One we call it as a color, another we call it as manufacturing year. One we call it as color, another we call it as manufacturing year. So color and manufacturing year, these two are independent to each other. Color and manufacturing year are totally independent. No relation. But these two multiple attributes in a single table are needed to generate car model. So even though there is no relationship between car model, even though there is no relationship between manufacturing year, but still we need to use to generate the car model with color and manufacturing year. Got it? So in order to generate car model, we need to use two multiple attributes which are not related, but both of them are useful to get car model. So that is where we call it as multiple valid functional dependency. So we talked about functional dependencies. There we talked about trivial function dependency. Then we talked about the multi-valid dependency. So in multi-valid dependency, we have multiple independent multi-valid attributes. So multi-valid attributes are manufacturing year and color. Both of them, they are useful to get the car model, but no relationship between manufacturing year and color. There is no relationship between manufacturing year and color. So assume that I'm going to have 10th class marks, then I'm going to have inter marks. So these are no relation. But to get a job profile, I need both 10th and I need both inter. So is 10th marks related to inter? No. But still both of them, they are needed for a job profile. So job profile, it is dependent on both independent attributes. That is the glimpses of multi-valid dependencies. Now, technically speaking, there is one more type of a functional dependency we call here as non-trivial functional dependency. Earlier we talked about trivial dependency where we have a self relation, where we have gone a self relation. But now we are talking about non-trivial dependency. So there is a relationship between A to B there is a relationship between A to B, and it is satisfying if B is not a subset of A. But here A, B and C are there, A to A is there, implies A to A is subset. A to A is subset of A, B and C. But this case it is not going to consider. So B is not going to be subset of A. So when we put this in a Venn diagram, A and B, so when A and B is null, that is when there are no elements at the intersect, null. When A and B is null, then A and B is going to be called as non-trivial function dependency. That is, when there are no items common in A and B, no items are going to be common in A and B, then we call this item as a non-trivial dependency. So at this case, what we are going to interpret was, here is an example from ID to name, then another is name to date of birth. So ID to name and name to date of birth, and there is no common point at this case. So that is, we can say there is null, the intersection is going to be null. Then we say here as non-trivial functional dependencies. Okay, now what will be the advantages of functional dependency? The next interesting was, what will be the advantages of functional dependency? So functional dependency, it is going to avoid data redundancy. That means no duplicates, no repeated values. So we can say no repeated at multiple locations in a database. That was the first example of giving up why we are going to use the functional dependency. Two, it is going to maintain the quality of data in a database. So null values are not there. There is no anomaly in database. That is, no insert anomaly, no update anomaly, no delete anomaly here. So if such of the things are going to there, then we can say it is meeting up the quality of data. Third thing, it is it helps us to define meanings and constraints of a database. So when we call it as a constraints, we can define a primary key constraint, we can define a referential key constraint, which we are going to call it as a foreign key. Third, it can link up with not null, or it is moving up with unique values. Finally, it is going to identify the bad design, whether it is normalized or not, and the impact was to find regarding the database design. So how good a database is going to be designed, etc. So all that items are going to be part here of the database design. So the advantages of a functional design, it is going to avoid the data redundancy, then it is maintaining to meet the standards of quality of data, that is no anomaly, either in form of insert, either in form of update, either in form of delete, and there should be some meaningful constructs which it is going to give up the constraints in form of unique, in form of not null, in form of check, in form of domain, and in form of primary key and foreign key references. And basically it is used to find the facts in a database design. Now, what will be the rules? What will be the rules which are going to be used in order to have a functional dependency? So there are few rules which are going to be associated with functional dependency. One, we are going to call it as reflexive rules. The first one, we call it as reflexive rule. Second one, we call it as augmented rule. Third one, we call it as transitivity rule. One, we call it as reflexive rule. Two, we call it as augmentation rule. 3 we are going to call it as transitivity rule. So reflexive, it is quite simple. So X is a subset of attributes of Y, and X is a set of attributes, and Y is a subset. Y is going to be a subset of X. And now then X is going to hold the value of Y. So X is going to hold the value of X holds the value of Y. X is going to hold the value of Y. Then we are going to call that parameter here as a reflexive item. Next comes the substitution, or what we are going to call here as an augmented rule. So in augmented rule, we are going to include a value X into C, then the same value C into Y. There won't be any change in the relation. So when we add an attribute, when we are going to add an attribute to both ends, there won't be any change. There won't be any change at this case. So we call those items as the augmented rule. So here I can see there was a relationship X to Y here, and C is going to be an attribute set. So we multiply A into C, and similarly we multiply B into C. That is X into 1, then we can say Y into 1. So impacting of 1 doesn't have much significance, where we are going to call that item here as an augmentation rule. The third thing was to use the transitivity rule. The third thing was to use the transitivity rule. So in this transitivity rule, we have X to Y, it is going to hold up a relation, and Y to Z, it is going to hold up a relation. And obviously we say there was a relationship between X to Z. There was a relationship between X to Z we were mentioning. So such a item we are going to call here as a transitivity rules. This rule is very similar to a transitivity rule where X to Y holds and Y to Z holds, and X to Z is also going to hold. Then we are going to call that item as it is functionally, it is going to determine the value of Y. So there we call here as a transitivity rules. Some of the applications of a databases, yeah, we have Oracle, we have MySQL, we have SQL Server, Teradata, CSV files. So SQLite, these are some of the examples which are going to be part of the DBMS. So what we talked for today, we talked about redundancies, we talked about decomposition, then we talked about insert, update, and delete anomalies, and thereby we talked about functional dependencies with fully functional dependency. Then we talked about trivial, then we talked about non-trivial, and followed by multi-valued dependency, and then the applications towards it. So these are the different content what we have taken up in this class. So the prescribed textbooks are also noted for you for this reference. Yeah, this is all for today. I'm ending up my meeting here.